I would describe Bob as one of the greatest mentors I've ever had, a great sounding board, and a guy that I'm honored to call a friend.
One of my father figures. I know I'd be able to come with anything to him and he'd have a good answer for it, whether it was professionally or personally.
Bob Ahrens is just enormously committed to the craft of sports journalism and seeing the students here at Fordham University and in the program succeed.
Bob took one-on-one and made it maybe the best kept secret in sports radio in the United States.
I admire Bob because Bob loves what he does and he translates the passion that he brings to sports and to sports broadcasting to his kids, to the students that he works with year after year.
I get here in August and I have to sit in the coach's booth of the football stadium for a soccer match. I had done soccer before, this wasn't so hard. And I get 15 seconds in because I used to have this really announcery voice. I was 18 and I wanted to sound 38. And I wanted to sound cool more than anything. And Bob just hits the stop button. He goes, "What was that? Who was that? Where's Mike Watts? That's who you need to be." And I called my mom that night and I said, "Mom, I can't do this. This is not going to work out. Bob is a dictator. This is, I can't, you know, I have this style that I've worked on for years and it's all turned to absolutely nothing." And then Bob starts building you up again.
Above all else, when I think of Bob Ahrens, I think of someone that transcended that boss-student relationship. He was really a mentor and a father figure to myself, and I know to a lot of other people that were in WFUV.
You know, a guy who's going to be there for you, and a guy who you can talk to about stuff outside of this. You know, I've had many conversations with Bob that have nothing to do with sports, that have nothing to do with FUV.
Bob's my closest confidant. He's one of my best friends. Has nothing to do with work. He knows more about me than 99% of the people I'll ever come into contact with.
What does Bob Ahrens mean to me? What he means to me is someone that has been here long enough to link generations and do it in a way that his earlier students now maintain their ties and they're making the business seem more attainable.
Bob Ahrens came along and he brought an air of professionalism to the sports department.
He was someone who encouraged me and supported me right from the beginning.
He's been a mentor, he's been a friend, and he's been a very, very weird, interesting person to have around in my life.
Bob's one of the all-time great characters. He is my greatest mentor and was an unbelievable sounding board for me when I was starting out, trying to find that first on-air job.
While Bob can be Bob, I know one of the wonderful things about Bob is that he cares so much. He is all about training these guys and gals to be real professionals, and you can see that with the people who graduated here.
Bob has meant so much for my career and my professional development, and he's become a friend too, so.
I once shared a desk with Bob Ahrens when WFUV was located on the 3rd floor of Keating Hall. Our desks were pretty much one desk side by side, and there was an avalanche of papers that just stood there. I should say a pile of papers on the verge of an avalanche at any given point in time, and I was just waiting for that sucker to give way and heave ho and bury me.
The best life lesson that Bob Ahrens taught me is you just never know.
I think Bob has taught me, and I would say others, really about persistence. I mean, he is always there for you, but he really wants you to do your best.
From the heart, it's just listen to people and they'll give it right back to you.
I would say the best life lesson is the sense of attention to detail and professionalism.
Always prepare when you're going to have food. Being in college is an eclectic schedule and sometimes meals go out the window, but every time I've had an experience with Bob Ahrens, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snack time are always laid out.
That there's bagel in the back, because there's always bagel in the back of life.
Michael, be patient. Michael, things will happen. Just give it time.
Always stay humble. but always also appreciate your talents. You're never quite as good as you think you are, but also you're probably a little better than what other people perceive you as. Bob always taught me to stay humble, and I really appreciate that.
There was that one time Bob drove us back in his car from the golf tournament at Winged Foot. Because between the gas and the brake and the brake and the gas, the gas that was in the car that had nothing to do with the car, if you know what I'm saying. Bob, do you drive with 2 feet? Don't do that.
Bob Ahrens in one sentence. One of a kind.
Bob is a legend, and I think that honestly, all jokes aside, that really is a testament to the kind of person he is, the kind of man that he is, and somebody that represents one-on-one at WFUV.
Bob Ahrens is a very, very deeply committed mentor to the aspiring sports journalist at WFUV.
So much more than just, you know, the guy who runs things over here. He's a wise man, a wise old man with wisdom.
Bob knows that I've been, my favorite phrase to Bob is, Bob, I'm gonna kill you.
I mean, think about all the time and effort that goes into starting over with each class and guiding them through to the point where they become finished products at the college level. I mean, to do that for 18 years, you better have a lot of patience, but you really need to have a lot of enthusiasm, and he has both.
He's just absolutely unpredictable. Every day you go in, you just never know what he's gonna say, never know what he's going to do, but I mean that in the most awesome way. He kept every day exciting, every day comical, and he cares so much about not just this station, but about the kids who work here, about the people who work here.
If I could pick one word to describe him, it would be family. Passionate.
Dependable. An inspiration.
Enthusiasm.
Loyal.
Oh? Bob. That's the one word. Bob is Bob. He's one of a kind. He's a Fordham institution. He's a broadcasting institution when you think about all the people he's turned out. Bob's fingerprints are all over our vocal cords, and I couldn't imagine anyone else I'd rather have molding the young voices of Fordham University than Bob Ahrens. Bob, here, mwah, I'll kiss you. I'll kiss you right here, all right? I love you. Congratulations and thank you for all these years.